Well, I thought I'd do a little SheD catch up. Not really been out, not been able to film recently because the weather's been so pants. Windy, wet, muddy and horrible. I think everybody's been moaning about it being not very good. But hopefully things are starting to look a bit brighter. Looking at a few results that have shown up recently, are starting to have a little bit more of a munch now, thank goodness. But as I say, I've not had a lot to report, not been out loads if I'm honest. Got fed up with getting wet if I'm honest, like everybody else. I did fish Angling Trust Silvers qualifier at Meadowlands last week. The run up to it wasn't looking too good. There was a 2-dayer on the Monday and Tuesday, and it was not very good. There's a lot of blanks. Well, I know Lee Carey blanked, some good anglers that have blanked. On the day of the match, I drew peg 17 on Warren. Don't really know it that well. Last time I fished Warren, I drew 25, I think it was. Maybe 26 is like on a point. It was only like 2 foot deep. So when I plumbed up 17, it was quite a nice surprise because it had a bit of depth. But looking at the results from the 2 days before, on the Monday my peg blanked. On the Tuesday only a pound came off it, so it was obviously not looking too good. Anyway, plumbed up, felt I had a nice depth. Set up a waggler actually. I did set a feeder up as well, but I then ended up not going on it only because next door, peg to my left, he started on the feeder and he's not had a sniff. So I tried the waggler, flipping it around different areas, never had a sniff. Looking around the lake, hardly anything was getting caught. I felt like because it had been fishing so hard, everyone was fishing very negatively, and I think that's cost me on a couple of matches now because I've fished quite negatively. Little tiny nuggets of ground bait, a few micros, and when another line where I just pinged literally 3 or 4 maggots. Nothing had happened, so I thought, well, I'm going nowhere here. So put in a bigger ball of ground bait at 13 metres, and then started tapping in quite a few maggots on my right hand line, 13 metres to my right and 13 metres to my left. And where I started pinging a few more maggots, lo and behold, had a little sign. And I thought, well, I'm going to quickly just put an expander on. I fed a micro line as well, so I put an expander on. So my pellets work really well at Meadowlands for skimmers. So I just tried it, put a 4mm expander on, gone out, couldn't believe it, float buried, had a skimmer. Thought, oh, here we go. Never had another bite on that. And then I ended up catching a few over my pinging line, but it was noticeable where I'd stepped up the feed a little bit. I'd started getting a few indications. So I feel like for the first 2.5, 3 hours of the match, we probably all fished a bit negatively. Anyway, cut a long story short, peg 5, I think it was, he fed quite heavy on his long line, and then of an hour to go has gone on it and started getting literally a skimmer almost every putting. He's ended up with 15 pound, I think it was. That's won the lake. It's actually won the match. In fact, he's caught more than everybody in the whole complex put together. But I managed to winkle out £4.2, and frustratingly, £4.4 won our section by default. Basically, there was a £5 on our lake, which ended up being third in the match. I think first was £13. Sorry, second wasn't it a lot more? £6, I think. Then there was a £5, and then a 5. I think there might have been a 5.14. Anyway, bottom line, I was 6 overall in the match. Couldn't believe it, but obviously didn't pick anything up for that. Was a bit gutted. Andy Power won his section with £2.11, I think. That's how hard it was, and he qualified with that. He won the 50s, and then on the deeps, think that was the £5.14, I want to say, or £6, something like that, which was second in the match as well, and that won the second zone, and obviously £13 won our section as well. So it was tough all round. To be fair, from a point of view of getting a section, probably anybody else on our lake only needed one £2.5 skimmer or slab, whatever you want to call them, £2.5 skimmer stroke bream. When does a skimmer become a bream? That's the question. Anyway, that was that. So a bit gutted, because it was £60 a section as well, from what I remember. So that was that. Missed out, and then I was booked into Fish Tunnel on Sunday just gone, and again, literally it's 6:15 in the morning. My phone's gone. Mr. Black, Andrew Black, a friend of mine, he's hurt his back, and he was due to fish a teams of 4 at Harescombe Fishery, and he's basically asking if I could stand in for him, and it was very short notice. So quick call to Tunnel, said, look, yeah, okay if I cancel today, and spoke to Sarah, that was no problem. So to help them out, I guested for one of the teams at Harescombe, so they weren't one short, and they currently, I think, they're second in the league. So one angler not turning up, they just got a default 9 points straight away. Anyway, cut a long story short, I drew, I want to get this right, Field Lake, Peg 3. Never seen it, never fished it. Going into that, same thing, you see, same thing. Everyone was saying you can't feed anything, you've got to just feed hardly anything. It's fishing really hard. You know, you're looking for 10, 12 pounds, going to be good. There's a couple of the boss pegs which you're probably not going to beat from where you were. So fished really negative. Just try and get some fish, get some points. Well, started off, I've tried bomb bread, bomb corn, across. Not had a sniff. And looking around, nothing was getting caught. Fed a couple of pole lines, one with a little tiny bit of ground bait, and one tapping in a few micros. Not had a bite on any of those. Thought, this is just crazy. I'm going nowhere. Literally, only got about an hour and a half to go, and I'm struggling like mad. Then MPEG caught. He'd caught a couple of carp, and then there was another couple of carp caught in the bowl to the right. And I thought, I've just got to catch some fish. And so I started feeding heavier on the 6 metre line. But this time I've gone from pinging a few maggots to potting in cab pot of maggots, just dumping them in. And made a difference, started getting indications. I had a missed bite, and anyway, then I started catching a few little skimmers. Again, feel like I've fished too negatively and ended up rubbish, doing no good on the lake at all. But I ended up with £5.11, I think it was. And I just feel, looking back, if I'd have fed a bit more aggressively 2 hours to go or 3 hours to go, just done something, had to do something. That when I look back, there was no point in sitting there being negative. I needed to try and do something positive. I was sitting out in the bomb hoping for it to go round, just didn't happen. And looking back, one carp wouldn't have been any good anyway. Needed 3 probably to win the section, maybe 4, and £24 won the lake. But there are some bigger carp in there. Anyway, plodded away, ended up with £5.7 or something. And just feel that if I'd have stepped it up earlier, I might have caught a few more. Definitely didn't feed heavy enough. So I think things have changed, and I think it's very easy to be too negative sometimes. I think sometimes you just got to go sort of bit of caution to the wind. It was a team event, and I was guesting, so I didn't want to mess it up, if that makes sense. You know, I needed to catch a fish. I didn't want to feed too much and not catch anything. But looking back, feeding more, I would have caught more, definitely. So that was that. Looking out of my shed door at the moment, and the sun is shining. It's nice. Probably should have gone today, to be honest, but as I say, it's quite difficult when I'm doing this shift work that I do for Sky, and they're quite long days, so I'm working all weekend. So if I'd have gone fishing today, I'd have got home and been rushing around. I'd need to keep my head in gear for work as well. As much as I really love my fishing, obviously work's got to come first. So that was that. I am What have I got coming up? I have got a few things coming up. I've got a Tunnel Barn Midlands qualifier. Fish Midlands qualifier at Tunnel Barn on next not this weekend, the weekend after. After that, I've got a fish show. Got a few things coming up. Got the Blake's 3-day festival as well. I'm going to start gearing up, ready for that. Changing a few rigs over, get a few shallow rigs, dare I say it, some shallow rigs set up. Completely out of practice for that, so I'm going to have to go and have a few practice sessions fishing shallow when the fish start feeding, that is. Hopefully it won't be long. I know a lot of people are hoping that they can start doing the old spray and pray situation. I don't think it's going to be quite like that yet. I think we're going to have to wait a bit longer. The water temperature is still not that good, but it's a lot better than it was, that's for sure. So hopefully, moving forward now, start getting a few fish. Well, everybody, not just talking about me, and everybody will start catching a few fish and getting a few bites. So, as I say, I need to start changing some rigs around, which is what I'm going to start doing. Possibly not today, but I will have 2 days of prepping, probably Monday, Tuesday, because I'm looking after the dog Monday, Tuesday, so I won't be able to go fishing, so I'll prep. 2 prep days, get organised, so that's good. So that was it really. I just thought I'd do a little catch up because I haven't done anything for a while. It's been difficult with this weather being not good. Going to get myself over to Blake's as well next week, get some ground bait and some pellets ready to go. And that is about it for the moment, but hopefully be able to film some matches. And I do need to do a bit more close-up videos of mixing some ground bait and that sort of stuff. Although, as I said a million times, all the how to mix all our ground baits are all on the Blake's website and the YouTube channel. So just have a look on there if you want any info on how to mix the ground bait. Paul Holland, Christian and people like that have all been they've all done their videos on it, how to prepare the pellets and stuff. So who better to watch and show you how to do it than those two. So that's it really. So we've got a couple of new anglers now. Jimmy Brooks is now on the Blake's team as well, which is really good. So it's onwards and upwards. Andy's obviously had to move away now as he's obviously Guru's his tie-ins with Guru and Mainline. So he's gone to do that. Good luck to him. Best of luck for doing that. Been an absolute legend really when he came out to Blake's, making a few ground baits up and talking people through it. It was really good. Definitely pushed the brand up as high as it can, as high as it's got now really. I think it's one of the biggest growing ground bait companies now in the country, so it's all down to himself, Paul and Christian. So that's all good. Moving forward, we'll see what this year brings. Right, I'm going to sign off for now, and good luck everybody if and when you go out. Bye for now.